I started to hear laughter through the walls, sometimes my own voice, sometimes the voice of someone else. At night, I saw a figure sitting at the edge of my bed, unmoving, watching me through the vent. I see shapes moving in the dark, soft thuds in the floorboards.
You are listening to the Fearcast. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
I don't know when the house first noticed me. I only know when I noticed it. My name is Amelia. I had been house hunting for months, desperate for a place I could afford when I found the listing. A 2-story countryside home, abandoned for decades, but still standing. The price was impossibly cheap, and when I asked the agent why no one had bought it, he just smiled thinly and said, "Some houses don't want to be lived in." I thought it was a joke. The house sat at the end of a narrow road, surrounded by dead trees and tall grass, its windows dark and hollow like sunken eyes. When I turned the key, the front door creaked open before I could even touch it, as though it had been waiting for me. The house was silent, stale, and cold. Still, it was mine, or so I thought. I spent the first week scrubbing, unpacking, and repairing old fixtures. It wasn't until the 7th night that I heard the tapping through the bedroom vent. At first, I told myself it was just an animal in the ductwork, but the taps grew rhythmic and deliberate, like something was trying to signal me. The next night, it wasn't tapping, it was breathing, shallow, wheezing, coming from the vent. I shone a flashlight down the shaft, but saw nothing but darkness. I tried to dismiss it, but the breathing followed me from room to room. No matter where I slept, I heard it always closer. On the 3rd night, I heard a child's voice whisper through the vent, "Don't come downstairs, he's still here." I called the police, but they found no signs of forced entry. I started sleeping on the couch, covering the vents with towels, but the whispers and the breathing always returned. On the 10th night, I found muddy footprints leading from the basement door to the living room vent. The basement lock was broken. I descended, flashlight in hand, and found a cavernous space far larger than the house should allow. The walls were lined with old furniture and boxes of decayed clothing. In the corner, I found small sweaters, shoes, and coats neatly arranged, like someone had laid them out carefully. I turned to leave, but I heard the voice again, this time right behind me. "You shouldn't be here. He's still downstairs." I ran, pushing a cabinet against the basement door, and called my friend Lauren to stay over. That night, we both heard the footsteps, heavy and dragging, circling beneath us from room to room. The breathing came through the taped-over vents. The whispers grew louder. "He's here. He's here. He's here." At one point, we heard soft humming coming through the vent, an old nursery rhyme that neither of us could place. Lauren fled the next morning and refused to return. I couldn't blame her. The next day, I heard the same rhyme playing faintly from my phone, even though no app was open. I tried to ignore it, but the sound followed me throughout the house, faintly echoing from inside the walls. Desperate for answers, I learned from the county clerk that the house had been condemned years ago and wasn't supposed to be sold. She told me quietly, "Some houses don't forget, sometimes they make new ones." I bought wood, cement, and tools to seal the basement for good. But as I worked, I felt the house watching me. The air grew unnaturally cold. I heard soft footsteps behind me, bare feet shuffling closer. When I turned, the hall was empty, but the plywood I'd prepared to seal the door was gone and stacked neatly in the living room. Determined, I locked myself inside the house and stayed awake all night against the basement door. In the morning, I found it wide open again and a note written in dirt on the kitchen table, "Come downstairs." That night, I heard a new sound, a quiet scratching at the bedroom door. The breathing had grown louder. It wasn't just in the vents anymore. I forced myself to open the door, expecting an intruder, but I found nothing but a wet trail leading toward the basement. I forced myself to go back down. The basement was colder, the air thick with damp earth. I smashed open the nearest vent with a crowbar and discovered a hidden passage. It twisted in impossible directions, far deeper than the house should allow. I crawled through the suffocating tunnel until I reached a hollow room lined with children's stick figure drawings, each with dark scribbled faces and hollow circles for eyes. In the center sat a skeletal man in a wooden chair, his skin pale, his mouth slack, and on his lap a decayed doll, its head tilted and broken. From the vent above me, I heard the child's voice again. "He's been waiting for you." I turned to leave, but the crawl space had vanished. The walls were now smooth stone, and there was no way out. The whisper from the vent returned. "He's part of the house now. You will be too." I pounded on the walls, screaming until I heard my own voice echoing through the vents above, pleading to be let out from somewhere else in the house. The walls didn't answer, but I felt the house breathe around me, exhaling through the hollow places. I woke up hours later in my bedroom, the vent grate hanging loose, muddy footprints circling my bed. I tried to flee, but the front door wouldn't open and the windows wouldn't break. I called Lauren, but she told me I'd already called her yesterday, and that I'd said I didn't know anyone named Amelia. I found that I no longer appeared in the mirrors. When I tried to draw my reflection, I couldn't remember my own face. I saw things moving behind me that shouldn't have been there. The house was sealing me in, piece by piece. I started to hear laughter through the walls, sometimes my own voice, sometimes the voice of someone else. At night, I saw a figure sitting at the edge of my bed, unmoving, watching me through the vent. I see shapes moving in the dark, soft thuds in the floorboards, echoes of footsteps that don't belong to me. I wait by the vent now, hoping someone will move in soon, hoping they'll hear me. Because the house is looking for someone new. But the house isn't just looking, it's preparing. Over the last few nights, the hallways have been changing. I've counted more doors than there should be, some leading to impossible rooms, small square chambers with walls that pulse as if breathing, rooms where the ceiling stretches impossibly high and disappears into black. I've found tiny beds with dusty sheets and small chairs tucked neatly beneath them, as if children had just left moments before I arrived. Sometimes I hear the soft clink of teacups, as if a gathering is taking place in those rooms just beyond the walls. I've found entire rooms filled with items I never owned: a small pink bicycle, a child's drawing of a family that isn't mine, dusty boxes with photographs of strangers whose faces are scratched out. Sometimes I see movement in those rooms, someone else moving in the distance, walking the same halls as me, wearing the same clothes, but never turning to face me. I've started hearing knocking from inside the walls, not tapping, knocking, urgent, desperate, like someone trying to get out. I knocked back once, something knocked in response, and then I heard my own voice, quiet, shaking, whispering from the other side. Let me out. I don't know which version of me is trapped now. I don't know which of me is still real. I just know the house is hungry, and it's still growing, folding new rooms into itself, stealing people's reflections, replacing them one by one. The last time I heard Lauren's voice, it came from a room that didn't exist when I moved in. She said, "I found a door. I think it leads outside." But when I opened the same door from my side, all I saw was the basement, wet, dark, breathing. I closed the door and the room vanished. I don't know where Lauren is now, but I know I can still hear her footsteps moving in the walls, getting closer to my side. I think the house is waiting for her to find me, or maybe it's waiting for me to find her. I don't know if I ever really left the basement. Maybe I never really left the hollow place. I see the hallway stretching longer each night, doors appearing where there were none, and strange objects left on the stairs, children's shoes, a cracked teacup, a small mirror with a face that isn't mine. I know I can't leave, but I'd love some company. If you ever move into a house with strange vents and doors that don't feel quite right, don't listen to the voices, don't follow the footsteps, and whatever you do, don't go downstairs. Because I'm still here, waiting, listening, and I know the house is hungry again. It's always hungry. And when you come to visit, I'll be waiting for you. I'll be the one whispering from the vents.